On today's blog, I am going to show you some behind the scenes stuff. So I am going to walk you through how I make a wedding album. If you watched another video on one of my blogs where I went through and showed you how to pick out images for the blog or for the album, this wedding album is going to be from those images. So I just took all of those favorites images and plugged them in right here. I just divided them up into each section of the day, so that way it's easier for me and quicker for me to just plug them right into the album. So every single wedding album that I design, the very first page I have, or the very first spread that I have, is of the bride and groom. I want them big, I want them there so you see it and you know what this album is about. So from there I just go through and I start pulling pictures from the different sections. As you can see, any of these ones that are still like bright and lit up, I have not used those. So, like I had said in the previous video, I won't use all the images from the favorites list, but I will use a good amount of them and whatever I think looks best visually and also gets the story across. So I did half of this album just so we don't end up with another 20-minute video, but there will be, like, I'll show you how I go through. So the bride usually, because there's so many more details, usually gets a spread or two. I actually prefer to break up the images a little bit more so that way there's not, this whole thing isn't filled with like 10 images, because then it just gets too congested. You don't know what to look at. You won't be able to see some details, especially if like an image is pulled back a little bit like this. So I like to use less images and spread them out so you can really see what's in it. And then I added this nice little transition image to move right into the groom's details. And that's where I picked up, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So the ceremony would be the next part. So I usually just pick out a few images. And plug them right in. So from here, I go ahead and kind of change the layout a little bit. And again, my whole idea behind this is to get the images to where they're bigger. I don't want them super tiny. I want you to be able to see them. Granted, the album is a 10 by 10, so it is a fairly large book, but I still, again, want you to be able to really see the images in there. So I'm going to do that one. And then what I like to do even further is zoom in on the smaller images so that way you can really see what's going on. I'm going to keep that one. Zoom in a little bit more for this, and zoom in a little bit more for this one. Right there. I think that is good for this one. And then the rest I'm not even going to worry about. The next section of the day would be bridal party, which I think I'm going to put probably another transition image, or maybe I'll do one of the bridal party pictures really big. Maybe. Just go to the bride and groom pictures and see what I have in here. I might throw one of these in there. Oh shoot, I forgot the first look. Those might have to get added. Might have to add these closer, like, not closer, towards the front before the ceremony. And I do like to do the album chronologically for the most part, just because it makes more sense to me. I mean, I'll sprinkle like bride and groom images really big, like this one, for example, in the front. But other than that, I like to keep everything grouped into the certain sections of the day and like do the continuous flow of the day so that way it reads better. Go back to that thought on the first look. But I'm going to go back to this. I think this image. I'm going to do one of these, I think. Maybe I'll do this. No, I don't like that either. And this line right here is where the center, where the page is split. But in all of my wedding albums, they are lay flat albums, so I can have the image go across an entire spread and the whole thing just lays flat. The only thing I look for when I'm designing is to make sure an image like this right here is going to cut through her eye, which once it's laying flat, it's not too big of a deal, but I probably will not use this image there just because I don't want that binding right over her eye since that's the focal point. So I think I might stick to that bridal party image, maybe this one. Do this one instead. Then move on. So we got some full bridal party pictures, and then the girls, and then the guys. Do those. I like to do a variety of layouts too. I don't do a ton of them that are center focused like this, but I like to change it up. Again, those bridal party pictures will end up being too small. So I don't really want to lean towards this just because they're big group shots. I want them to be bigger on the page. We will do something like this and then swap. Maybe I'll just take that out. There we go. That looks better. So I'm going to switch those. Zoom in a little bit. All right, cool. So then I'll do more. Do a big bridal party shot. Maybe a couple more of them. Swap those. Cool. one more of the bride and groom, which I think I want to put that there. How many pages do I have? Guess I'm on 10 spreads. I think I'm going to do 15 spreads, which would be the 30 page, which is what comes with my highest collection. Do that. I always have the most fun putting the bride and groom pictures in. They're probably just my favorite photos of the day. Swap those, swap those. So as I was talking about in my maybe not the last video, but one of the other videos, is that I like to add a combination of the pulled back shots, a little bit closer, and then the detailed shots. So that way they just look nicer and more clean. I don't know. I just think visually they flow a lot better when you have some detail shots kind of breaking up these bride and groom pictures. So there's that. I think I'll do, this is going to be 11. So I got to do one with the first look, which I think I'll do. Throw that together now. Throw these up there. We add this one also. And I pretty much just play around with how things look and see what kind of works best for the images, because not every image and every layout is going to work for every wedding. It just depends on the pictures. So what was the first one? This one, I think I like that, but I think I'm going to pull one of these images out. I think I'm going to pull this image out. Just so these images are a lot bigger. No, that does not work. Yep, I want this one. Of course, I'm going to zoom in on that face because that is a perfect expression. Get this like that. I'm going to swap these two. I'll probably do more detailed shot. There's going to be a lot of bride and groom pictures in this because I really love these photos. I know if I have a tough time deciding what goes in an album, I can't even imagine how difficult it is for a bride and groom to choose. Because, you know, it's their wedding pictures. But, So then I'm going to take this first look slide, and I am going to move it there. And then I might move this there. Let's see. Might move this one over just a little bit more. Alright, I think that looks good. What is this? 13, so I think I have 2 more. So I need to go to reception. I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna do more than 15 spreads, just because there's a lot of reception details from this wedding that I absolutely love, and I want to make sure that they are included. Oh, let's take that out. Just look at how beautiful. This wedding was so pretty. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Fun fact, the bride and groom actually built this copper donut stand, and they got their donuts from White House Fruit Farm, which, if you're in the Youngstown area, you know that that is a staple place in general, but especially for donuts and blueberry donuts. And they had tons of donuts, and then they had all these mini cakes on each table. And if you can't tell by just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images, they're huge foodies, so they had so much food that I couldn't even begin to think of how anyone would finish any of it. It was just such amazing food the entire time, and lots of it. Alright, so then I'll have this one slide for reception and dancing. And again, because there's a lot of images on this page, I'm going to zoom in just to make sure you'll be able to actually see the images. Alright, and then the last picture, or the last spread of the album, I like to do a picture of the bride and groom, usually from towards the end of the night, which we snuck out for sunset to get some pictures. So that is it. Let's go through here so we can see it full screen. Might take a second to load. Oh, I guess not. I was hoping I'd be able to see it bigger, but anyway, so this is the completed album. As you can see, There's a variety of detailed shots, shots where you can see people's faces, full spreads with one image, and none are overly crowded with images either. And I think even nailing down this amount to this amount of images, there's still tons of images being shown, and you get a good sense of how that wedding day went, for sure. All right. So that is it as far as the design goes. In another video, I'm going to show you how we go from this to getting it into my client's inbox so they can go through and proof it. So that'll be coming up. But thank you for sticking around. I'm sure this was a long one, but I appreciate it, and I hope you have a better insight of how I think whenever I design these and kind of my intention for you guys in regards to your wedding album. But I hope you like it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.